Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Two shot, one fatally in Hanover drive-by attack. Two men were shot, one fatally, in a drive-by attack in Hanover on Thursday afternoon. The victims were unidentified. It's reported that shortly after midday, the two victims were traveling along the Ramble Main Road in a white Nissan AD wagon when a group of men traveling in two vehicles, a black Toyota Vaxio and a white Toyota Axio motorcar, drove up beside them. The occupants opened fire on the AD wagon, hitting the two. The passenger died on spot, while the driver was taken to hospital for treatment. Woman accused of lottery scamming arrested on extradition warrant. A woman who is wanted in the U.S. for alleged lottery scamming was arrested in St. James on Thursday. 36-year-old customer service representative Sherika Goodison of Paradise 8 Norwood Meadows in the parish was arrested during a joint special operation in the Montego Bay Hills police area. The operation was carried out by members of the Jamaica Fugitive Apprehensive Team, Lottery Scam Task Force, Era 1 Operational Support Team, and their counterparts from the United States of America. Goodison is wanted in the U.S. for mail fraud, wire fraud, and lottery scamming activities. She was arrested pending an extradition hearing. St. Anne police capture man accused of harassing women in Party Town. The man who was being sought by the St. Anne police for targeting and harassing single women in Party Town in the parish has been captured. He was taken into custody on Wednesday after several reports were made to the police about his disorderly conduct involving damage to property. Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, head of the St. Anne police, said the man was wanted for a previous offense. He was arrested on a bench warrant issued by the St. Anne Parish Court for unlawful wounding. He was advising that anyone with outstanding reports against Mr. Henry to get in touch with the Old police to have these matters addressed, he urged. Residents of Party Town in St. Anne have expressed fear that the man was roaming the community, targeting single women. SSP Powell said the man's capture should come as a relief to residents of the community, especially women. Accused in Nikita Novel case deemed fit to plea. Psychiatrists have deemed that the man charged with the shocking murder and rape of 9-year-old Nikita Novel is fit to plea. This has cleared the way for the continuation of the case against Omar Green, accused of violating and killing the child of a woman with whom he had involved with a romantic relationship. Green will be back in court on July 11. Little Nikita was killed 4 months ago. When the case came up for mention in the Hanover Circuit Court on Thursday, Green's attorney Albert Marcon, who on Monday had asked for an update on an assessment of his client's ability to plea, was absent. Supreme Court Judge Justice Courtney Day asked for an update, and the prosecution indicated that the Crown was in possession of the report. The prosecution then suggested that Marcon had been requesting a forensic psychiatric report. Justice Day then asked for the 42-year-old construction worker if he had been seen, interviewed, and examined by a doctor. Green replied in the affirmative. What that means, the doctor is saying that you are fit to plea, you have sufficient understanding to speak to your lawyer and discuss with your lawyer what your response in the charge is, and that you are fit to allow Justice Day explained to Green before adjourning for lunch with the hope that Marcon, who had requested an hour, would show up. However, when court resumed, the court told that Marcon had indicated that he was unable to make an appearance and was therefore requesting next week Tuesday's date. Your lawyer can't come today, sir. The case will be mentioned on the 11th of July. You are remanded in custody until then, stated Justice Day. Green replied, yes, Your Honor. Nikita, whose family members fondly call her Joanna, was a student of Esher Primary School at the time of her murder. She was killed on the afternoon of February 1, 2023. Earlier that morning, the accused and the child's mother allegedly had a domestic dispute. It has been reported that the young girl traveled from school with her usual taxi driver before she and other passengers exited the cab at the usual spot, the foot of a dirt road leading up to a hill that leads to where she lives. The child's mother raised an alarm after she did not return from school as scheduled and could not be found. Community members and the police launched a search, and Nikita's body was found a few feet from the entrance of her house. Larceny charge dismissed against man after 14 years. A larceny charge against a St. Catherine resident who was before the court for more than 14 years was on Wednesday dismissed for want of prosecution. Lorenzo Doe's larceny case was adjourned in 2009. since died or without a fixed resumption date. When the matter called up in the St. Catherine Parish Court on Wednesday, Attorney Nikita Williams made an application for the matter to be dismissed. Williams told the court that over 14 years, her client has been suffering from the inconvenience of the matter hanging over his head. She told Parish Judge Natalie Dixon that with so many years elapsed, it was unjust to continue to deprive those of traveling privileges. The court then ruled that the matter should be discharged for want of prosecution. The court also gave written instructions for those travel documents to be returned to him. It was alleged that in 2007, Dawes was one of 4 people charged with simple larceny. In 2009, the court was adjourned since died against Dawes, while 2 of his co-accused were convicted and given suspending sentences. No mention was made for the status of the other accused. JUCC testing cashless fare collection system. In an effort to better secure the day-to-day fares collected by the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUCC and to safeguard the cash of commuters, the government-owned company has started testing a cashless fare system, which will be soon the only payment method for rides. The pilot program will run for 6 months. Darrell Valls, Minister of Transport, made the announcement during the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday at Jamaica House. Of course, the cashless pilot is on, and I think that this is going to be a big help in relation to the viability of the JUCC, which, as we know, it takes billions of dollars out of the budget every year for subsidy, Valls stated. The use of cash for the JUCC is definitely not a prudent way, because the fact of the matter is that you can only collect a small percentage of what is passing through, and that's the reality. Not to mention what happened with everything else, the oil, everything else that happens. So we're doing a fuel management using technology as all other companies around the world that big fleets are using, he stated. The recently minted transport minister also spoke of plans for a rural school bus transportation system as part of his vision for public transportation in Jamaica. He believes such a system would be a major driver for behavior change among students. It can operate in 2 ways, publicly owned buses as well as franchise services to provide the services. All drivers and conductors throughout vetted training in a youthful-friendly approach, violence prevention, other enforcement to prevent fights and brawls on the buses and in public spaces, a bias towards female drivers and conductors, pre-recorded and approved audiovisual messages and music to be played on the bus. This can form part of the resocialization strategy, behavior change modification for the youth, which is so important, Valls stated. Part of the vision is rural school bus transportation that, as rural MP, Member of Parliament, is critical and one of my biggest priority. You're talking about kids who are leaving their homes from as 2 o'clock in the morning to walk for miles to get to the nearest point of where they can get public transportation, and then they have to go through the public transport being disrespected and abused or left because their fares are much less than adults. Then they leave school in the afternoon at 2 or 3 o'clock after the activities, or 4 o'clock, and don't get home until 10 o'clock at night. So what kind of learning environment is that for those youngsters, some of whom have the most amazing potential and are only doing that because of circumstances of their parents, he said. He also said public transportation is regarded by the population as a key enabler of nation prosperity and development, characterized by efficiency, convenience, safety, security, reliability, affordability, and pleasant, but that the vision versus what obtains now is almost the total opposite in Jamaica, especially in the urban areas. Valls said to help bridge transportation problem affecting children, he has a draft term of reference that he has already established for the implementation of a safe and secure transport system for a rural transport system for students. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification